Hi, I'm Kyla McNamara, and I've worked at the Northern Ag Research Center for the last 5 years. This is my second year growing dryland quinoa here at NARC. I first heard about quinoa at an integrated pest management workshop, where researchers talked about growing it in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Western Triangle Ag Research Center in Conrad was also experimenting with growing quinoa. After obtaining seed from them and talking with Peggy, I had my first trial planted last year. Quinoa is originally from South America, specifically in the Andes region. Those varieties are day-length, elevation sensitive. I had some of those varieties in my trial last year, and while they produced plant material, they did not produce a viable seed. This year, I am working with a breeder from Washington State University who is working on making quinoa varieties more suited for the northern states. Quinoa is used both for human and livestock consumption. It is considered a superfood and a pseudo-cereal. It has no gluten, but is packed with fiber, protein, and amino acids. It's in the amaranth family, so it's related to lamb's quarter and Palmer amaranth. However, the benefit of quinoa is that it has low dormancy, so it sprouts easily, but then doesn't regrow, making past fields of quinoa easy to manage. However, on the flip side of that, if we have moisture, they can sprout in the head, causing yield loss. We plant quinoa as early as possible, at a rate of about 9.5 pounds per acre and a depth of 3/4 of an inch. Last year, I had a pretty poor stand in some of my plots, which I attribute to a low seeding rate. After talking to several researchers, I increased our rate to that 9.5 pounds per acre. We planted our quinoa this year on April 22nd, which was the first day we did any planting in our plot field here at NARC.
There are many challenges with growing quinoa. Many insects attack quinoa at all stages of growth. Here at NARC, we've had Lygus bugs, aphids, flea beetles, goosefoot groundling caterpillars, spotted blister beetles, beet petiole borers, and many other green bugs that have not been identified. There are few insecticides that are registered for quinoa that are also cost-effective for the producers. I was able to find a registered insecticide this year, but have not sprayed as my insect load was a lot lower than last year, and I want to see what insects are here and actively feeding. I take sweep net collections a couple times during the growing season and send the insects off to the Scudder Diagnostic Lab for identification. You can see quite a bit of insect damage on our plants, on the leaves, heads, and stems.
There are no registered herbicides for weed control in quinoa. It also competes poorly at the start of the season with weeds, making a clean field before planting imperative. We're lucky here at NARC that we have an awesome summer crew that hand weeds all of our plots, so we have clean fields, accurate seed representation, and clean seed for future planting. Quinoa has a bitter coat around it called a saponin. This is to deter deer, birds, and even humans from consuming quinoa in the field. Although it does have this saponin on it, last year I noticed a lot of bird damage on many of my plots. I attribute that to being next to a safflower field, and those two crops being the last in the field, leaving it for the birds to eat on. When it comes to human consumption, to get rid of the saponins, a simple wash and rinse of the quinoa gets rid of the bitter taste and makes it more palatable for humans to consume. As you can see, a lot of our quinoa plots are 4 to 5 feet tall. This can cause lodging or breaking, especially if we have wind, rain, or even if the seed head gets too full. This is one of the last crops we harvest, but it's out in the elements a little bit longer. Quinoa takes a while to dry out and mature. We use a combine here at the Northern Ag Research Center to direct cut it, and we set it up with air and concave settings similar to that of canola so we don't blow the seed out the back of the combine.
During the growing season, we take many different data points on the quinoa to send back to the breeder. At the start of the season, we take emergence counts. This is where we count how many plants emerge in a specific amount of space. We then document how many days until the plot flowers and how long that plot flowers for. We take plant heights and then document how many days until the plot reaches maturity. After maturity, I will go through and take lodging notes, where I will go through and rate how bad a plot has lodged and if it has lodged at the root or partway up the stem. After harvest, we will then clean the seed and weigh it for yield. I will also run a germination test to see if the seed is viable. If temperatures get too hot during quinoa flowering, it can cause sterility in the flowers and therefore lack of viable seed.
As you can see, there's a lot of different challenges with growing quinoa, but that's what makes it so exciting for us here at the Northern Ag Research Center to research and experiment with. If you have any questions about quinoa, feel free to contact me, Kyla McNamara, here at the Northern Ag Research Center. Thanks for watching.